The last thing that we're going to be talking about on this week's episode of Mando Talk is we're coming back to it. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right.
The newly released Star Wars Skywalker, A Family at War book has revealed possible teases for the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. Now, before I read this, I do want to say potential spoilers for those of you that want to know absolutely nothing
Big
about
time.
Kenobi. A passage inside this novel or this book brings up Obi-Wan Kenobi's life in the years following Revenge of the Sith. And here's the passage. It states, before he and Yoda had parted ways, the old Jedi revealed that Obi-Wan's beloved master Qui-Gon Jinn had returned from the netherworld of the Force, manifesting his conscious mind even after death. It took 10 years, but eventually Obi-Wan was able to commune with his dearest friend, resurrected within the cosmic force. Now, I want to connect that, though, here real quickly to the official Kenobi show synopsis that Star Wars let out last week or a couple weeks ago. It says the story begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. So we get that perfect 10 number in both content, the synopsis for the show and from that passage that's bringing up Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
My immediate takeaway, Qui-Gon's got to be in Kenobi at this point. I mean, right? I mean, you can't deny that, right?
No, I'm right there with you. If Qui-Gon's not in this, I think it'll be a big letdown.
I think so, too.
I think it'll be a huge letdown. I mean, Liam Neeson was on James Corden not that long ago, and what did he pull out? He's like, hey, look at this thing I have, and it's his lightsaber from Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't just pull that out for no reason, especially when the world fully well knows Ewan McGregor's off there being Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Mm-hmm.
So I am right there with you. I think Liam Neeson has to return as Qui-Gon Jinn.
I think so too. Now, let me mention our Twitter poll. So again, if you do not follow us on Twitter, we have polls like this probably, I wouldn't say weekly, but probably about every other week. We throw a cool little fun poll out there. And I threw out this question. What is the likelihood of Liam Neeson making a return to Qui-Gon Jinn in Obi-Wan Kenobi? Here's the results. 7.9% chose 0 to 25%. Please convince me why you chose that, if whoever you are. 26% to 50% was, or sorry, 23.7% of our voters chose the likelihood to be 26 to 50. And then we have a tie. 34% of our voters in this poll said 51 to 75% likelihood it happens. And then again, 34% of our voters in the poll said 76 to 100% likelihood that it happens. So, I mean, my takeaway from that, though, is where the majority is over 50% that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
For me, I take that as it's going to happen. Like,
sure.
Probably going to happen. And I think also, too, though, with those polls, to be fair, it's hard to not vote for 100% because you just want to see it.
Yes. Yeah. And I actually went into it with that. And in fact, I did get to vote in the poll. I also retweeted it. In fact, if you didn't retweet it, you need to. He did not. Nobody at Mando Talk asked me to say this, but I'm going to say it. If you're not already following Mando Talk on Twitter, you need to. And you need to be following them on all their socials. Caleb and the crew, they all have some outstanding insight on all these different things across all of the Star Wars content. But no problem, man. But as for what I think, what I voted for, I decided to be slightly pessimistic. And that's not my personality. I'm not usually pessimistic. I actually voted the 51 to 75 percentile.
Okay.
I thought like, let's be a little bit of a realist here.
You want my vote?
Yes.
51% to 75% is what I put
down. Brother, come on.
So I don't think you're as problematic as you thought.
Hey, fair enough. But I want Qui-Gon Jinn to show up. I think it'd be dumb. Honestly, I think it'd be dumb if Lucasfilm didn't throw him in there.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I know you have to pay your actors, but how much do you have to pay Liam Neeson to be in a TV show for 3 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he voiced Qui-Gon in Clone Wars, and and that was in the I can't remember the name of the arc now. It's lost. I've lost it. But anyway, he was there,
Yeah,
and
he was.
he was there, and we saw him. He was manifested in the Force there on that planet. Whatever, I can't remember. It's gonna bug me the rest of the day. But he was there.
Dagobah?
Honest. No, well, his voice was on Dagobah in season 6. It's the Mortis arc. Whenever it's the
Oh,
son and the daughter and the father. I mean, he shows up there in
yeah.
Mortis, and somebody was watching this going, "It's Mortis, you idiot! It's Mortis, you." But no, he was there. I mean, it was Liam Neeson who voiced him. Okay, and I think it makes sense to have Liam Neeson come back and do it, and it'd be a really great payoff for a very short scene. I mean, it couldn't cost him that much time. It couldn't cost Disney that much money to get Liam Neeson for such a short moment.
I think so too. And like you said, it's just one of those things that makes sense. Like
Yes,
it'd be dumb to not occur, like you said.
yeah.
Um,
And
and
I
it
even
would
forgot to mention that book. I mean, it says 10 years.
right.
I mean,
The perfect number, the
yeah,
exact number, and
yeah,
you that can't be coincidence. I mean,
no,
come
yeah.
on,
And I mean, I
make
like
it
to think,
happen.
absolutely, I like to think that it's this awesome opening shot where it's just Obi-Wan like meditating or
Uh huh.
something.
Uh huh.
And then he kind of hears the voice in the background. And then maybe it's like Hoth when Luke is in the snow,
Oh, okay.
and Obi-Wan just kind of comes out and goes, "Go to Dagobah, learn from
Yeah.
Yoda," and maybe it's going to be Qui-Gon saying, "Do this thing," or
Yeah.
maybe that's what propels the story forward. That'd be awesome. But
That would be great.
I just want to see it. I just want to see it.
No, I agree, and I would venture to guess that the majority of the fan base out there wants to see it as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Now there is one more thing though that I wanted to talk about, just to have fun. I mean, this doesn't bother me at all, but whenever it says with his dearest friend,
Hmm.
is that problematic for you at all, or because whenever I think of Kenobi's best friend, dearest friend,
Hmm.
I always go to Anakin. So
Yes.
does that like throw you
Yes.
off any that the book is claiming that Qui-Gon was his dearest friend, or am I just looking too far into that?
I don't think you're looking too far into it, especially as a diehard fan.
Mm.
Have you read Claudia Gray's book, Master and Apprentice?
Ooh, I want to so bad.
So
I haven't found it because I'm one of those that wants to have a hard
that's
copy
the
of it.
book. I
And
get it.
every time I go to my bookstore, I've yet to see it. I should probably order it off Amazon, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a tradition,
Yeah.
I
I
guess.
get it. I go to half price books as often as I can and go look around and see if I can't pick up something that strikes my interest. But
Yeah.
yeah, I did buy. With that being said, I'm a hypocrite because I did buy Master and Apprentice on Amazon, but
Fair
it
enough.
is what it is. Yeah, fair enough. But I finished reading it. That was one of the beautiful things of being kind of shut in at home during
Mm.
2020 was I had nothing else to do, and I've had this book. I need to read it, so I read it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read it, I'm not going to spoil anything real specific. It's just about why this is problematic. So if you
Okay.
haven't read it, I would say turn this off. But it's very simple, and it's all it is a story point that drives kind of the relationship dynamic between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. It's very clear, very right out of the gate. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have a difficult time understanding or even finding the balance in their relationship.
Hmm.
And we also learned that it's one of the factors of why it took Obi-Wan so long to become a Jedi Knight.
Hmm.
Not just the fact that it took him a long time to become a master. I mean, if you think about it, he was like 25 years old in the Phantom Menace. In comparison, Anakin was 22 um, in Revenge of the Sith, and he'd already been knighted and trained Ahsoka, and was a
Yeah.
member of the Council. So I mean, he has all of that on his own master.
Hmm.
And the age difference, there isn't too drastic, really, when you think about it. And so I think that it is a little bit problematic because in this story, you get this whole dynamic where their balance and their relationship is a little out of whack. It
Yeah.
takes a long time. Honestly, it takes almost the entire story of Master and Apprentice to really find their groove. And even also in Phantom Menace, there's moments, like very small moments, where
Hmm.
they're still trying to find that groove. And by the time you get to the end of Master and Apprentice, there's this like moment where Qui-Gon says to Obi-Wan something like, from now on, I'm going to put all my focus on being your master and making
Yeah.
sure you are trained properly, which is really cool. And I think that honestly can tie into the Kenobi show as well.
Hmm.
But ultimately, they are put away on these things and they move forward as a unit. Is what I'm trying to say. They put those things away and they move forward as a unit. And Obi-Wan and Anakin do that in the Clone Wars. And it's not that it's okay to use the phrase "dearest friend." I just never got "that's my best friend" from
Vibes.
Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And that's having read Master and Apprentice, that's having watched, Phantom Menace, and then all the old Legends books that mention Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's relationship in certain areas. I haven't read all of them, but there are those stories I've read that have been like, I don't really buy that they're that close. I mean,
Right.
obviously, when Maul kills Qui-Gon,
Oh yeah.
that's a big moment for him.
Big moment.
Because he spent so much of his life. I mean, the majority of his teenage years and into his adulthood, he's been with this guy, learning from him. You're gonna that relationship's it's gonna hurt when someone like that dies, especially right in front of you. But I still don't get the dearest friend thing.
Yeah, and there's no denying that there is strong bond and connection and love between those two characters. Like I'm not against that at all. It's just kind of, like I said, I've always interpreted, I mean, we see that emotion. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. Like, I can't see
one of those
Kenobi necessarily saying that to Qui-Gon.
No,
it's
or
just
Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan. Yeah,
right.
And we don't get to see the stories unfold between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like we did between Anakin and Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars. Both versions. And it's something that I think is missing. And I think that's another reason why Liam Neeson needs to be in Kenobi. Because they'll somehow pay homage to Phantom Menace. And there may be some story points that we never knew about as fans.
Yeah.
Coming to fruition, that'd be 23 years later. When it's all said and done. So that's going to be something I think they could very easily work with, very easily tie in if they do it right.
Right. No, and I agree 1000% with you as far as just, and again, I don't want to be nitpicky, and I hope we're not coming off as nitpicky, because it really doesn't drive me all that crazy. I just thought, you know what, that's a really cool kind of discussion to have real quick, because when I saw that, I'm just like, is that really Qui-Gon though? But regardless, let us know what you think as far as, do you want to see Qui-Gon Jinn in Kenobi? If you don't, please convince me why we don't want to see it.
Yes.
And do that on YouTube, do that on Twitter, wherever you can find us. Because, man, like we said earlier in the show, Kenobi is on the top list as far as my excitement level. So anytime I get a chance to talk Kenobi with anybody, I love that time. So do that wherever you can find us. We would love to hear from you.